Hey guys, and welcome back. And in this part we're going to go ahead and create the rest of the connection piece, and I'm just going to go ahead and make sure everything is named and grouped. This is going to be the neck piece. This is what we just made. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is go ahead and create the cylinder piece, and my motor crashed for what we just done in the previous episode, so I'm using a different piece, so mine might look a tiny bit different than yours, but it should look pretty much the same. So we're going to go ahead and select this object, go to modify and make live, and then we're going to go ahead and pick a poly cylinder, and you're going to go ahead and drag out in the middle and go ahead and drag out the height, or however long it's going to be. I'm not quite sure yet. It's probably going to be up to about here. Doesn't really matter for now. And I'm also going to just go ahead and add the edge loops that we need so it will hold its shape. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and tear off my edit mesh again and slow down my sensitivity, and go ahead and select my insert edge loop tool and insert the edge loops that we need. And we're also going to have to go ahead and extrude these faces. So just going to go ahead, select everything and try to deselect these if I can, and I did. So I'm going to go ahead and hit extrude and scale in. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, select all of these and try to deselect those, and it didn't work because my camera won't line up properly. Let me just try that again. That should work this time, hopefully. It just saves time. You can go ahead and select it one by one, and that's what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to go ahead and select all of these faces quickly. There we are. And I'm going to go ahead, hit extrude, scale in, and now if you smooth it, it's going to hold its shape. Okay, so that's all we've done, and I'm going to go ahead and move this back where it should be sitting, and also going to mouse over this, go to modify and make not live, just so I don't forget. So now we've got our cylinder created, and basically how we're going to go ahead and connect, we're going to go ahead and reuse these pieces basically, because I found this shape is pretty cool, and it will work for what we need it to. We're just going to go ahead and resize them and so on. So I'm going to go ahead and make 2 of them, and then we're going to go ahead and select this one and this piece and this piece and go to isolate. And now we're going to go ahead in our front view and try to line this up correctly. So I'm going to go ahead and rotate, and basically this is going to sit exactly about here, maybe a little bit closer to the edge like so. And then now I'm going to go ahead and just move my pivot point. So I'm going to go ahead and select the cylinder and just move this pivot point roughly in the center like so, and hit insert. And now I can go ahead and rotate it around this, and that should roughly do it. I might even go ahead and just scale this piece down a tiny bit. Might even scale it down a bit more, like so. So just so the edge is touching there. So I'm going to go back into a front view and just move this out a tiny bit. And then again I'm going to go ahead and rotate. And now I'm going to turn on X-ray, and we're going to go ahead and select some points and make sure that they line up correctly. So I just want it to sit inside there only a little bit, but not too much. So So we can go ahead and select these as well and just drag in a tad. Now I'm going to go into my perspective mode and make sure that it's looking good. And yeah, it would look better if you combine it, but we got so much geometry sitting in here, it would be really complicated to do, so we might as well just do it this way and it will look just fine. And this piece is not, I mean, this piece of Wally isn't really going to be seen, so it's not that important. But so as you can tell, it sits in there just about, and it sits in there all nice and neat. So now we're going to go ahead and, because this is already lined up, I'm just going to delete that one and duplicate this and move it. And this piece is going to go ahead and join up with the back part. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and move it right to about here. I can't really remember how far. Oh yeah, I do remember. We're going to go ahead and just unsmooth this, select the verts, these end ones, and drag it all the way out here, because it does sit pretty far back. And this object is going to sit just in front of the neck piece, okay? So somewhere about here. And then now we're going to go ahead and isolate this and the back piece and hit isolate. And I think we should have grabbed the cylinder as well, so I'm going to grab that as well and hit isolate, and then go into my front view like so. And then we're going to have to rotate this around again. So I'm going to go ahead and rotate and unsmooth it. And now I'm going to go ahead and select all of these verts that I need to be joined up with this piece. And I'm just going to go ahead and drag it out like so. So it sits inside a little bit. And then I'm going to go ahead and turn on my X-ray mode, smooth this, and then select my vertexes again that I need and make sure that it sits in there, not too much but just a little bit. Okay, so I'm go ahead, vertex mode, and just go ahead and drag these back a little bit so it sits in there perfectly like so. And I'm just going to come out again, isolation, turn X-ray off, and make sure that it looks okay. And it looks pretty good to me. I'm not going to complain. And now basically what we're going to have to do is, obviously you're going to have to duplicate the eye over, and then duplicate these pieces and move them. So I'm going to go ahead and select my head. So the whole thing, including the plugs and the cable, and there's the reason why we kept the curve in here because we're gonna move this around, okay? So we'll do that later. So I'm gonna go ahead and select all of these and go ahead and hit Control D to duplicate. Now I'm gonna drag it out, press R, go to my X -1, and go ahead and name this. We're going to rename this eye right, and we're going to rename this eye left. And I'm going to go ahead and move this into place as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and drag it and try to roughly line it up like so. And I think that's looking okay. So now that we have that, we're going to have to go ahead and duplicate this piece and drag it back, and then also duplicate this piece and drag it back like so. And then we're going to go ahead and scale them in the X direction -1 and see if that works. No, it's not going to, so you're just going to have to rotate it. But it's fine because our pivot point is there anyway. I'm pretty sure this should work. Let's try. Why is this not working? There we go. We just gotta use Y. And also for this one, we're gonna go ahead and translate -1, and we're just gonna rotate this up. And let me just turn X-ray on and see why this is not looking correct. Let me just delete this. Ooh. I'm going to go ahead and delete this piece and this piece again, because I think we've done this a bit wrong. I'm going to go ahead and duplicate that, drag it out, and instead of scaling and so on, we're just going to go ahead and rotate it. So I'm going to go ahead and rotate it this way. You can just do it by adding +65 or take away the minus sides. There we go. So now it's rotated to the right place. And again, we're going to do the same thing with this. So instead of -84, if we duplicate it first, this is going to need +84, like so. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab it and just move it back like so. And these should be pretty much lined up if we moved our head properly. So what I'm going to do is just go ahead and go inside my head, select the eye right, which is this one, and we're going to go ahead and just move this a tiny bit, and then go inside again just a little bit more. And let me have a look at it sit in roughly the same place where it should be. And now I'm just going to make sure these are all smoothed, and that's pretty much done apart from our back piece. Okay, so that's looking pretty cool. And I think for the back pieces, because it's more likely they'll see the back, we might just scale this in this. So let me just go ahead and try -1 here, and then just go ahead and move this again, because it's more likely they'll see this piece, I mean this side, which got the detail on. So I'm just going to go ahead and do the same thing with this one, and again just move it like so. So in case they do see, then they'll see this nice little detail in here, and in here it's more likely that they'll see the front piece, I think. So we could cut this face in half and then duplicate it so both sides have it, but it's not really that essential. So this is all looking all good now. I'm just making sure everything is lining up properly, and it's looking all good, and it is. So now we're just going to go ahead and make this back half and then connect it to the neck. So I'm just going to go ahead and use these two pieces again, which should be is in a group, but we're going to go ahead and grab both of them and duplicate it and drag it to the back, and go ahead and find it, which should be, don't even know what that group is, but we'll find out. Just going to go ahead and find these two, hit Shift P to ungroup, and then just close these groups. And then we're going to go ahead and grab both of them, group them, and then name it neck connect back. And we're going to go ahead and select the group, modify, center pivot, and then we're going to go ahead and scale this in -Z so it turns round. And now we're going to go ahead and move this in place, which is going to be about there. And the way this is going to work is that cylinder will go into the top half, and the bottom half of this is going to get extruded, and that will make that cube that you've seen before, that will connect to this cylinder. Okay, so you'll see what I mean in a minute. So first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and isolate these two, this and that bottom ring, and just hit isolate. And we're going to go ahead and move these two down. If I select the group, so that cylinder is going inside the top piece, and we're going to go ahead and scale the top piece up like so, I think, and we're going to go ahead and move them down again so it sits in the center like so. And I'm just going to go ahead and move this down separately a little bit, and also move it back like so. And now I'm going to go ahead and unsmooth this one and select these two faces and hit extrude. And we're going to go ahead and drag this out this way. And basically this is going to turn into a kind of a cube, so I'm going to hit extrude again and hit scale and scale it up. Hit extrude again and drag it out this way, so it will cover up a cylinder like so. Hit extrude again, scale just to give it some more detail. So I'm going to go ahead and scale it about here. Hit scale again, drag it in to about that much. Hit scale again, scale in to about here. Hit extrude again, and we're going to drag it back to about here. Okay, so this is just to give this piece some more detail. And now we're going to have to go ahead and add our edge loop. So this is going to hold its shape. And there's some funkiness going on here. Let me just move this. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and add the edge loops. So go ahead and use insert edge loop tool, and we're going to need one here, here, around here, around this edge. By this time you should really, when you're watching this, you should really know what I'm kind of going to do next. So when I say, oh, we need to add the edge loops, you should know where I'm going to add the edge loops and try to think a step ahead of me. So that's what, well, actually that's what I did when I watched tutorials, is when the guy said, oh, okay, so next this is what we're going to do. Then I started thinking about how he would do it, and if he actually done it that way, then I was like, whoa, I could do this by myself. If he'd done it differently, then I paid a lot of attention and learned the way he done it. Okay, so if you're just watching this, it's a really good thing to do, just to basically speed up your learning. So now we need obviously we need an edge loop inside here. So I'm just going to select these two faces, hit extrude and scale it in so we get that. And now we're going to hit smooth, and obviously we still need some more edge loops around here, so we're going to go ahead and add those. So we're going to insert edge loop, and we need one here and in here, and I'm just going to go ahead and check the rest of the corners. Need one in here and one more in here, and let me just smooth it now and see how it's looking. And that's looking pretty good, apart from this bit here. We're going to need some more edge loops in here. So there we go. Let me just isolate this one piece because things are getting in the way a little bit. Let me just see where we are. There we go. So now I just isolated that piece. So it's easier to see what's going on where I need that edge loop, which is right there. So again, insert edge loop tool and just put that edge in there, and that should work now pretty well. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit smooth and see how it's looking, and it looks pretty cool. So I'm gonna go ahead and isolate, and let's just see what we've done overall. So there's the back piece, and I'm gonna go ahead and move these. So if I just go into my front view, select these two, actually seems like it is sitting in the center, but it isn't. So I'm just going to go ahead and move it right in the center. Same with this one. Make sure that it's sitting at the right place. Just come out of my front view, go into perspective, and just make sure, I'm going to look around the model. I'm going to make sure that everything is looking correct. So I'm going to come in here. These line up nicely. That cylinder looks pretty cool. Let me just move that. And these look pretty cool. And that looks correct. And we got our connection created, and I think it looks great. I think it looks pretty awesome. We might go ahead and scale this piece up a little bit more. I think let's just go ahead and do that. Just scale this up and drag it up. And again, I have seen some references, but it's quite hard to get in here, so most of it is just made up. Well, made up as in to the best of my ability, how I think it would look like. So you can go ahead and make this bit, you know, personal to you. So you could go ahead and change bits around if you don't like it, and make sure that it's looking the way you like it, and you'll get a different result that's, you know, personal to you because you added your own touch to it. And that's exactly what I'm doing here. So you can make this connection piece a lot different. You know, you could make it a lot better than mine, but I thought I'm not going to spend a crazy amount of detail on this one piece, because if we zoom out here and we make an animation of Wally, you're never gonna really see this piece unless you make a shot of him from up here, which is highly unlikely. So I mean, I tried to find pictures of just this one piece and I couldn't. You know, the only piece that I've seen really is this two and the back piece, and really I just made this back piece up to whatever I like, and I think it looks pretty cool. So now that we have this piece created, we're just going to go ahead and name everything and group everything and make sure that everything is looking good. Well, we already done that, so I'm just going to go ahead and let me have a look at what this is. That's for the neck. This is the main cylinder, so we're going to call this head middle cylinder neck connector back. That will go, I think, with the neck piece. So we'll put that in a group with the main neck, and also this will go with the back. This group 2 is, we're gonna have to go ahead and split this up. So this is going to go actually into the head group. So I'm just going to go ahead and select, going to go ahead and delete that node because there's nothing in there. So now we're going to go ahead and name this cube and that cube and that cube. We're going to go ahead and group these 3. We're going to go ahead and degroup that and select all of these and degroup these, and go ahead and delete this node. So now we're just cleaning up the outliner, making sure that it's all nice and clean and everything is named, because we didn't do it while we were creating it. So okay, gonna name this head, connect, front, foot, piece. So you can name them whatever you want as long as you know they are fairly descriptive and you'll know what they are. So I'm going to name this head, connect, front, top, piece. This is going to be head, connect, front. Ooh, I don't think that's. Oh no, that's not going to be that. I meant this head, connect, front, mid, piece. This is gonna be, I know what that is, I know what this is. This is actually gonna go in the group with the eye. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and put this, but first name it eye left connector. And we're also going to name this front. This is going to be eye left connector back. This is going to be eye right connector back. And this is going to be eye left right connector front. So now that we got these named, we're going to go ahead and drag them where they're supposed to be. So eye right. We're going to go ahead and put that in the eye right group. And again, we're going to do the same with this piece and close that. Now we're going to go ahead and drag these in the eye left. So I'm just middle mouse button and dragging. And then this piece will have its own group and name it eye connector front. I'm now going to go ahead and these next cylinders will actually, this main cylinder can go in the eye connector front, and basically this piece and this piece and this piece will all connect to the neck. Okay, so it will all be in one group, and we might as well do that right now. Next cylinder, what else do we have? Neck connector back, and we're going to name, where's our eye connector front? We're going to go ahead and name this eye connector front. That's fine. We're going to go ahead and group these, and I'm not really sure how we're going to go ahead and do this. We're going to have to think about this, but that's fine. We're going to go ahead and group this piece with this piece, and then we're going to name this eye connector main, and then this will sit inside the neck group. Okay, so this two will sit in neck main, and then the rest of the pieces that we're going to be creating will go into neck main, and then this will go into neck main as well. So now we're going to have everything nicely organized. In the next part, we're going to go ahead and connect these cables up properly, and then we can go ahead and create the neck.